let's get into what we're here to talk about today, which is
Let's do it.
diversity in film and TV.
Yes.
And what I really want to do is, I'd really love to hear about the kind of films and TV shows that you grew up watching, how you feel maybe they influenced you in what you like to watch, and how they influenced you in how you grew up. And then I'd really love to talk about what you watch these days. You know, what do you watch in film and TV? What I can see from the posters behind you, the kind of things you enjoy. And I mean,
Oh yeah.
we chat all the time over on Instagram, so we kind of know what each other likes a bit. But it'd be great to see as to what you watch now, and to see if diversity at all influences the choices in what you watch. If it doesn't, that will also be interesting to know as well, of course. And then also just to get your just general views about diversity in film and TV. Is it an important thing? Is it an important thing for you personally? And what you feel about where it's at the moment. So I'll pass over to you. Let's first talk about the kind of things you love to watch when growing up.
So growing up, there are like lots of shows that I watched growing up, but something that really stuck out to me is a show called Static Shock. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it like not a lot of people have heard of it, but
Yeah.
it is a DC character, DC from the DC universe, and it's about a kid, a black kid, and he's an innocent kid, and he's not from that great part of the city.
Right.
And he kind of gets involved in gang activity like in the very first episode, and then the gang is kind of in a shootout at this power plant. There are explosions and things like that, and it releases a gas that gives these gang members like abilities, and this kid gets the ability of electricity.
Right.
And the show is just really about him, discovering these powers and, kind of, dealing with those, how to use them for good.
Yeah.
And he's still living on this, side of town. So it's just kind of like, just kind of dealing with that. He has a best friend, and the guy's name is Virgil, and his best
Yeah.
friend's name is Richie. And he's a white guy. And, it's kind of like it doesn't matter that they're different races, they're best friends, like that.
Cool.
And also like that kind of reminds me of, Hey Arnold as well. It's a little it's different,
Yeah.
but it's kind of similar. But yeah, Static Shock was like my all-time favorite show growing up. Besides Avatar.
Yeah.
There's Avatar, yeah.
There it is, that beauty.
But yeah, so beautiful. But anyway, yeah, Static Shock was a big show growing up.
Cool.
Also, I watched that. So Raven, if you're familiar with
Oh,
that,
yeah.
on the Disney
Yeah, yeah.
Channel. Teen Titans on Cartoon Network. X-Men Evolution.
Yeah.
X-Men really intrigued me a lot because it was just kind of like about minorities, if you will, misfits,
Sure.
coming together and kind of going towards this goal, the same goal, defeating evil or whatever. So X-Men
Yeah.
really always intrigued me in film and in cartoon.
Yeah.
And so yeah, those are the kinds of things that I did watch growing up. I watched so many things though. Like it was a plethora of things that I watched.
Yeah,
but those
yeah.
things kind of stuck out to me.
Do you know if
Some of my favorites.
Static Shock is available anywhere to watch at the moment, or?
I don't know if you guys have it, but it's on
Sure.
the platform DC Universe, the app. I don't know if
Right.
you heard of that.
I haven't, but I'm sure it's available somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it's DC Universe app has a lot of older, cartoons like Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series, Justice
Sure.
League, just DC cartoons. Not a lot of films, maybe like
Yeah.
original films that they've created, but not like Man of Steel or the Justice League movie or anything like that. So
yeah. I wonder if
But
it
yeah.
must be. I wonder if it's available on Crunchyroll or something similar to that. It's probably a possibility.
Probably you could probably purchase the episodes on Amazon Instant Video.
Yeah.
That's one thing that you could probably do. But for subscription wise, it's probably the best is DC Universe. I don't know if you guys have that available, but that's
Cool. Well,
here we do.
Yeah, cool. Well, anyone in America, then go check that out by the sounds of it if you
Yeah,
haven't already.
yeah.
Awesome.
It's a
Awesome.
great
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, yeah. I used to watch the original X-Men 90s cartoon as well.
Hmm.
I don't know that I ever watched X-Men Evolution. Though. I've definitely have heard of it, but
Hmm.
definitely the 90s cartoon I used to watch. And I agree with you. It was interesting how you can sort of cover that social political stance with what essentially is a fantasy comic book. It was, yeah, X-Men was always brilliant. I never read the comics originally, but the cartoon was always one of my favorites growing up.
Yeah, I actually never really. I'm not a big into comics. I read a lot of manga, but I don't read a whole lot of comic books.
Sure.
Growing up, I did read some here and there, but um, yeah, I'm really more big on mangas,
Mm.
Japanese comics.
Yeah, sure.
Um, but yeah, Static Shock is a great show.
Nice,
And I
nice.
recommend that to anyone, not just, anyone from my standpoint, but just everyone. It's
Yeah,
good for anyone.
yeah.
And
Great,
I
great.
really didn't know that this was a DC show until like the show went on and, Batman was introduced into the show and then Superman was introduced to the show. I was like, is this
Hang
like
on.
going to be a thing? Yeah. Like I didn't know that growing up. So, when they started coming on the scene, I was like, okay, this is a DC show. Cool.
Great. So yeah,
But
and I mean, has DC always been something you've really enjoyed then as well? So that when you saw Static Shock was a part of that universe, it was like, wow, this story is part of this mainstream thing here.
yeah, so DC back then it wasn't as big in film. It was more the cartoons, so like Justice League and
Yeah,
things like that. Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go, but growing up, Teen Titans was big and things like that. So when I did see that Static Shock was connected to those characters, I was like, whoa, this is huge. Like
yeah.
I grew up not knowing that they're connected in this way, but they
Yeah.
are, and that's awesome. So
Brilliant, brilliant. Cool. All right, so let's move on then to talking about the kind of films and TV shows that you enjoy to watch now. What is it you search for? Having been subscribed to your channel for a while now, I see that actually you do talk about a big variety of stuff. But is there stuff maybe more personally that you strive to watch, or is it pretty much what we see on your channel that is AJ?
um with that, I think as far as diversity, I do tend to look for things that are more diverse,
Mm,
and not just saying that I want to watch a show that's completely, black cast or a show that's
yeah,
completely, something else, a different type of cast. I want to see, them integrated a lot of different races
yeah,
together, but I do watch some shows that are majority black cast,
yeah,
HBO's Insecure, FX's Atlanta, things like that. I have, checked those out, but I do really enjoy diversity in film. Like something that was huge was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and
yeah,
Spider-Man
yeah,
was my favorite superhero, growing up because Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. That's what really kind of got me into superheroes. Period.
yeah,
So moving on, seeing Miles Morales as Spider-Man, that was huge for me, and I kind of wish
yeah,
I
yeah.
had that growing up,
Definitely, definitely.
But it was a great film, very well executed. Production quality was top notch. I
Yeah.
really enjoy this film. Also, something that I really liked that I see that you talk about sometimes is Coco, Pixar's Coco.
Yes,
And I
yes.
really, really enjoy that movie. And before watching that movie, I was thinking this movie, not to be disrespectful or anything, but I was just saying
Yeah,
this movie is not really directed at me. It's not really for me, because this is a different culture. This is not something that
sure.
can relate to. But
Yeah,
after
I get that.
watching the
Yeah,
film, I was like enlightened and like this is for everyone. Like,
Yeah.
and after I watched it, I went I was like telling my family about it. I was like, have you seen Coco? This movie is so good. It's so good. And they're like, yeah, it's not for me. That's what I said too. It's really good for anyone. So I think that was
Definitely.
something that kind of like broke the mold for me in my mind, that, you know, that different cultures films are not for me, but it can be.
Well, and I think this is, yeah, well, and I think this is like such an important thing, is that it's from watching these films, especially Mike, it's, you know, from watching these films, that's how we're going to learn about it. If we say it's not for us, it's only because we don't understand it. I feel that's the reason, you know. But if you've never sort of learned about those other cultures, you know, and that's fair. You're not always going to go out and do that because people might not understand how to do that. But film and TV is a great way to do that. And I think Coco and you know what Pixar did with Coco, that as far as I'm aware, you know, I've not spoken to anyone from Mexico to tell me otherwise. Well, you know, full stop period. That to say that, oh no, it didn't really represent us that well. But I kind of figured that it did, especially considering, if you look at for the English dub of the film, because they have an English and a Spanish dub, the English dub of the film, all the actors are still of a Mexican heritage or a Hispanic heritage. So even on that side of it, let alone what the story of the film, yeah, it was massive. And as you're about to say about Parasite too, again, it's just because who knows the culture of South Korea? I don't, you know, and so, and through this film, we got an eye into that.
Exactly.
Granted, not you know, not a wide scope, but it's a great start point.
It definitely is, and it opens your mind to other possibilities, other films that you can, you know, enjoy, that you know, that you wouldn't have thought about enjoying beforehand. You know, it just kind of is a stepping stone.
Yeah, definitely
for me, because I don't think I've ever seen a Korean film before Parasite, honestly. And I know I'm into film and things like that, but you know, that broadening my scopes, I really appreciated that.
Yeah, definitely. And this is it. And I think especially most of the East Asian films that I have been exposed to have been predominantly martial art films. So it was really nice to see a different type of film, and knowing that those kind of films are available in East Asia. You know, it's, you know, I never necessarily thought, oh, they're not, but for it now to be fully exposed to the Western world, because for me, that's what Parasite did. It was fully exposing. Well, hang on a minute, we do make other stuff, and it is really good. So
you're right, exactly.
So it was really good to see that.
Yeah,
and I agree with you on Spider-Verse as well. I mean, that film, that did something. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Yeah. For me, it just
kind of broke the mold.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of really just kind of brought back for me what Spider-Man was about. And that was to say that anyone can be Spider-Man. And I think because it did that so literally with having Miles and having Gwen and even Penny Parker as well, you know, just to be like, yo, anyone is Spider-Man, you know?
Anybody. Yeah.
It
doesn't matter what you look like. You know, it doesn't matter your age, because, you know, the older Peter Parker, you know, it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Awesome, man. I'm just going to go over to the chat quick. So we've got some interesting chats coming in. Aggressively Relaxing has said, just checked out your channel, Reacts, and you are a nerd. So, of course, I subscribed.
I'm nerdy as you can get.
That's what we do. And talking about nerdy, we have Nerdy Blurb TV in the chat. Ryan is here as well.
Ryan, what's up?
Good to hear from him, man. He's dropped in quick to have a little listen. Sweet, man. Thank you very much. He's at work. All right, so he's on a break. All right, we'll try and get as much content in for you, Ryan, as we can while you're on your break. Cool, AJ. So let's talk about let's go more than general into diversity in film and TV, and we'll start firstly with, you know, is it something that is important for you when you come to watch film and TV? Do you strive to watch? You've already said that you do like to watch TV shows that have more diverse casts, and that doesn't necessarily mean all of one demographic, but you do watch shows that are like that. So is it an important thing to you to start with?
Yes, it's very important. And I understand that it doesn't necessarily have to be used in all film, and it doesn't have to be necessarily used in all television shows, but it is always nice to see some representation in those, on those mediums. I think some film and television shows that don't have it, I usually think to myself, is this on purpose? Is this has to be on purpose, that no one of, any other culture is in this, is represented in this film or television show. And it kind of, it rubs me the wrong way sometimes. And other times, if it has really good content, if it's something that I'm really into, it doesn't bother me as much.
Sure.
But, sometimes I think about that.
Yeah,
I think representation is very important. Something that someone of different culture can relate to. Like that. So
yeah, definitely.
it also broadens your demographic. It also broadens your audience. So you want that, right?
Yeah, well, and I think this is it. And I think, one of the most interesting ones to talk about and how that changed, for me at least, is Star Wars, and how, certainly with the opening of the sequel trilogy, it was a much more diverse cast to what had originally happened in the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. And so do you think that it is important that big franchises like Star Wars, like the direction the MCU will start to go in, that they are the ones leading the way in more diverse casts?
Yes, I think that's something that's huge, because it has a huge audience, and I think it opens the minds of, the audience, especially the ones that enjoyed the franchise in the past. I think it really it kind of just opens possibilities for all kind. It opens possibilities for the actors themselves as well. To appear in more film and television shows. Something that I was actually realizing recently, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like there's more British actors in Star Wars than there used to be.
Well, they always had kind of an interesting mix, because in the original trilogy, obviously the main three were all American. They had Anthony Daniels, who was British. They had Peter Cushing, who played Tarkin. He was British. They had Ian McDiarmid, who plays Palpatine, is British.
Oh, really?
Or he's Irish. He's either British or Irish.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. And who else? Alec Guinness, the original Obi-Wan, of course. And then if you go into the prequel trilogy, obviously you had Ewan McGregor, who's Scottish. And there were a few others. Captain Panaka, he's a British actor. I don't know if you remember him from The Phantom Menace. He was...
that's probably the one that I watched the least.
Sure, fine. Yeah, they're in there, but there aren't... It's still mainly American, which, makes sense. It was made in America. But yeah, certainly when you get to the sequel trilogy, you have Daisy Ridley, you have Donald Gleason, you had John Boyega, yeah, obviously. I don't know how I just completely went over John Boyega there. So they started to flood in a bit.
And those are like main characters. They're like huge characters in the franchise. The sequel trilogy.
Yeah. So I think that was it's interesting as to where the reach starts to go as well. But what I also really like is then when you think of Rogue One and the cast there as well. So obviously we were led by Felicity Jones, a British actress. But then if you have a look at the rest of the cast, you had Donnie Yen in there, along with the other Asian actor whose name I can never remember, and I feel really bad now to bring it up on a live stream.
Me either.
But there we are. That's the way that is. Maybe I'll do a quick Google search, or if you can while I talk, that would be great. Then also you had Diego Lopez as well, who's obviously of Hispanic descent. So they really started to open up. Riz Ahmed, who is South Asian, Western Asian, who's great. he's also British as well. He's actually British born. I think he's British Pakistani, Riz Ahmed. He's actually my tip to be the next James Bond after Daniel Craig. I kind of feel if they're gonna go for someone ethnically that way, I would actually tip for Riz Ahmed. There's something about him. I don't know what it is.
The other Asian guy's name is Baze Malbus. I've never.
That's the character name. Do you have his?
Jiang Wen.
Jiang Wen. That's the one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's interesting that Star Wars started to pull more actors from completely varying backgrounds, as well as just being American and British. So hopefully that will continue. It has slightly in The Mandalorian as well, obviously with Pedro Pascal. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And what about then, obviously a lot of people also ask that we get news stories of different backgrounds and cultures, like we got with Coco, I suppose. That was a completely new story. But do you like to hunt out for those news stories as well, or?
I like the news stories better than if a film is remade with a different, culture or a different, race. I think it's a little forced when there was a Annie remake.
Yes.
And I'm like, is this really necessary to change that? I want original, new original. I feel like that is kind of forced.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember watching that Annie remake and being like, it's not quite there, is it?
I never watched it, but it's just it was interesting to me that they decided to do that. And also with The Little Mermaid, there was a huge controversy with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not that I'm against it. It's just that I'm questioning why.
Sure.
Why are we doing this? Why are we not coming up with original content for these, great and wonderful actors and actresses that have so much potential? Why are they reprising a role that's, not necessarily representing their culture,
Sure. I think that's always been an interesting debate that has, because there was a point of it where I was sort of like, oh, this is sort of subjecting Black people to basic tokenism here. I've since changed my stance on that. I don't think that necessarily is tokenism. I think that, Disney are remaking it. It's their property. They have the power to do what they will with it. I think where it will differ, and you're right in saying is does the culture of The Little Mermaid change to reflect The Little Mermaid? Does it have to? I don't know. I don't know that it has to. But I think because The Little Mermaid, the story was never, it was never really about a nation's culture. I felt it was that love story.
The main focus.
Well, exactly. And I think that's a reason why Disney felt they could do it, as far as I understand it. And, obviously a lot of people are like, oh, why don't we, change Tiana in Princess of the Frog and Moana in Moana? I'm like, but their culture is significant to the story, where I'm not sure that it was with The Little Mermaid. If anybody thinks differently to that, please let me know in the comment section, or if you think differently to that.
Hugely controversial topic.
It is, yeah. I don't think it's one that's ever going to be solved, is it?
Probably not. Probably
no.
not. But I don't have a huge stance on it, because I'm not against it. I'm just kind of questioning, is this something that we absolutely need?
Yeah.
I think something that we do need is new stories, new and original storylines for these actors and for for different cultures. Period. Like Coco.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I wonder then if just on Little Mermaid, if the deeper question there, or the bigger question maybe, is, do Disney need to be remaking this stuff anyway? But that's I suppose it's how it's done. That's that a lot of people. There's a lot of films that are being remade right now. Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and Lion King even. And exactly
like that. So
I think if it's done similarly, because Aladdin worked for me, and by the looks of Mulan as well, that was going to work as well. So because they were, you're going to disagree, okay?
I wanted to see Milan so badly
Yeah,
when it came
right,
out,
right.
and we didn't have
Yeah,
the chance to.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah. I wonder what, because they haven't announced the new date yet for Milan, have they?
the pushback date.
No.
Not yet.
Yeah, I mean, they won't put it out onto streaming. I know,
No,
we know Disney, they
no,
won't.
no. I was kind of surprised that they dropped Onward onto the streaming service.
Yeah, I don't know that we've got it here in the UK. I didn't check because the
Okay.
Disney Plus UK is, we're still behind on The Mandalorian. I've still got 3 episodes to go.
Wait,
And
they
they've
haven't
only
released them? They haven't released them?
they're releasing them week by week. So we've only had Disney Plus for, this will be the 6th week this week. So we'll be getting episode 6, or is it the 4th? I think they released the first 2 on opening, and then we've been getting them weekly since then. So we won't get episode 6 of The Mandalorian until Friday.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Mandalorian has been over here since,
I know.
what, December? Whoa.
Came and went for you.
Why?
I know. I mean,
I wonder why they do that. Why don't they release them at the same times?
well, I think with Disney Plus, because Disney still had a major contract with Sky here, so I think they had to wait before they could release Disney Plus over here. I don't know that is necessarily true, but it's the only thing that seems to make any kind of sense. So
when they drop, well, since they have all the episodes available, they should have just dropped the whole season.
Well, this is what I thought at first as well, but then I also thought I would have finished it by now, and that would kind of maybe be a bit more depressing. So
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get
while we're stuck indoors, it's kind of nice that at the end of each week I do have something currently to look forward to. So
well, that's good. Yeah, I didn't even think about it like that, but yeah, I do.
Well,
whenever I watch shows that drop the whole season at once, I do finish it really quickly. And who knows when we're going to get new episodes, with all this, everything, productions pushed back and things like that. So,
exactly. Yeah.
Let's just savor it a little bit.
Let's indeed. All right. Well, let's. Have you got any closing thoughts about diversity in film and TV before we move on to the next part?
Not necessarily. Just that I feel like it's always a good thing to have representation and diversity in film and television. Something that usually intrigues me, something that gets me there, kind of hooked. I was like, okay, we have different cultures, in this one thing. This could be good. That's something that always intrigues me. So
definitely. Actually, there was something I did want to ask. Actually, I just remembered just before we move on to the next section was, do you? You said that you like to watch TV shows and films that, yes, have a diverse range of people in them, but you do also like to watch single demographic things as well. When you're watching the single demographic things, do these shows or do these films, do they touch upon race a lot? Let's think maybe Dear White People, if you've watched Dear White People, and how that really tackles race sensitive subjects. Do you like to watch those kind of programs as well? Or for you, just representation, is it, instead of focusing on the things that set us apart, do you prefer to watch things that just normalize everybody?
See, Dear White People, that show specifically, I know it was based on an actual film that came out a few years prior than the show, but the show, it never really, I don't know. It kind of felt a little disrespectful in a way, to other cultures, and I know that it has a huge fan base. It has a huge, amount of people, a huge audience.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know. I never really got into Dear White People. But like I said, there are a few shows. One on HBO called Insecure, that is predominantly Black, the cast and things like that. And I do enjoy those shows, and don't think I don't know. I think it is. Yeah, I do enjoy those shows. I don't really know where I was going with that, but yeah, I do enjoy the single demographic shows, and then but in shows that do have predominantly white actors, sometimes I don't feel as bothered as if they're older films.
Sure.
Because I kind of know that that's how it was back then, but newer shows or films that don't have as much diversity, I'm like, oh, that has to be, on purpose. Even though it was on purpose back then, it's like times have changed. Come on, keep up with what's going on.
Sure, it kind of feels like there wasn't a conscious thought as to what was being made here right now, and that
or it was a conscious thought.
Yeah, we'll never know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah.
Cool, man. All right, well, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your channel. What it is you do there, what it is you try to do there. Yeah, man, I'll let you just riff on that one.
My channel, it started off as a reaction channel, just to react to, different things, nerdy things, movies, TV shows, things like that. It has kind of progressed into basically the same thing, but I integrated music into it a lot more. It's kind of hard to do music on my channel because I know that it's not going to be monetized, but it is something that gets the most views. So it's it's like darned if you do, darned if you don't with that one.
Sure.
But like I think that's something that brought a lot of people in. I don't know if you're familiar with The Greatest Showman. I think that's something I did a reaction to the soundtrack that was kind of remade by different pop artists and rap artists called Greatest Showman Reimagined. And that was something that a lot of people, a lot of my followers, that's where I got a lot of my followers from. And I never knew that video was going to blow up the way it did. But when you have like 50 subscribers and you get 2,000 views on a video, that is mind blowing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And now I think it's at like 5,000 views, but it's just like, and that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to start definitely adding music into what I do.
Sure.
And because I enjoy music and I enjoy television shows and movies and stuff like that. So that's something that I focus on. And now with the shutdown, with the lockdown, we're not really seeing a lot of new movies. So we're kind of got to figure out some things and do some things a different way. And I think that's really helping me grow. And even being on here with you right now is just kind of like something I've never done before. And it's kind of just broadening my scopes, as far as the channel is concerned and things like that. But yeah, I try to keep up with what's being watched, what's the most popular thing, but also keeping myself, in it and really enjoying what I do, because I know if I go off and, do something I don't enjoy, it's going to feel like a chore. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know.
So that's me. I react. AJ reacts to a lot of stuff.
Have you just like kind of going off of what you're saying about The Greatest Showman, have you seen Hamilton the musical? I
haven't. I've listened to Hamilton a lot.
Right.
I haven't seen the show. I would love to see the show.
Yeah. Fine.
I love Hamilton. Hamilton.
Have you?
And I'm really excited for In the Heights.
Yeah.
As well.
So I've not seen In the Heights. I've not listened to the soundtrack either, but it's going to be something that it's going to be massive, that film, from everything that I've seen about it so far. So that'll be really interesting.
I've listened to some. I don't think I've listened to the whole thing.
Right.
I've listened to some.
Have you seen or heard Hamilton mixtapes?
Yes. I've listened to that as well, and that's kind of like Greatest Showman reimagined.
Yeah. That's where I got the link. Yeah. Have you reacted to the songs on your channel? the Hamilton mixtape ones, or
not the Hamilton mixtape.
Okay.
That might be something that I can do in the future. I don't know how popular it is right now, but I can do that.
Sure.
I might.
Because some of them are fantastic. They are just
definitely
inspired. My girlfriend, she's massive into Hamilton as well. She actually sent me as well. There's a YouTube video of the original Burn, the song Burn from the show. And what's happened is Lin-Manuel Miranda, he's gotten together all the different actresses that have played Elizabeth Schuyler, and he's recorded them all singing and made this like big music video of them all singing this original Burn song, which again, I'd love to see your thoughts on that. So that would be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I might do that.
Yeah, have a look, because it'd be great to see what you think about that, because it's an incredible. Yeah, if you already like Hamilton, you'll see the progression of what Lin-Manuel wanted that song to be, to then what it kind of had to be for the show. So it cuts deep. I think you'll like it.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Nice. Cool, man. All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up this live stream, man. This has been a lot of fun to hear your thoughts on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and same. Likewise. Also, to the viewers, Elliot and I, we did a Avatar: The Last Airbender review, or just kind of a discussion, and that's gonna drop either today or tomorrow. I'm gotta get to editing on that, but
the link to AJ's channel is in the description box down below. So for anybody that does want to find AJ's channel, just click down there on the link and you'll be taken straight to it. So nice and easy there. Awesome. Right. Well, thank you very much, AJ, for coming on. This has been a lot of fun for me. Kind of makes it easy as well for just creating videos, man. Just to chill and have a discussion every now and then is beautiful.
We gotta do this again, man.
I'm feeling it. I think we definitely should. We'll find something that I mean, there's so much out there that we both like. It would not be difficult.
No, it would.
Sweet, man. All right, cool. Well, thank you very much, AJ. Thank you very much for everyone watching. Do make sure you check out AJ's channel. If you've liked what you've seen here, please make sure you do subscribe to Hakuna MaChatter as well. I post videos all on diversity in film and TV, as well as countdowns on some of my favorite things to watch as well. So do make sure you check that out. Do make sure you check out AJ's channel for some great music reactions, film and TV reactions, reviews. It's just all fun over there. It's such a great channel. And make sure you follow him on social media as well, because your Instagram live yesterday was beautiful. I loved it. I don't know if you can hear the cat, but she's craving some attention. So all right, thank you very much, everybody. We'll catch you again soon. Bye-bye.
Later.